Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Lakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. And Shalom to all the sincere believers, which includes the scattered Israelites who are amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. Now this lesson is going to be basically an update on what's happening out there with this Iran war. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read some of this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. It says, U.S. sailors and Marines arrive in Middle East as Iran war expands. Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis wade into the conflict, firing missiles at Israel. Says Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels waded into the expanding Middle East conflict, announcing that they fired 2 missiles at Israel. The movement previously disrupted shipping lanes in the region, attacking vessels in the Red Sea in retaliation for Israel's war against Hamas. Says the USS Tripoli, carrying 3,500 sailors and Marines, has arrived in the Middle East, said U.S. Central Command, as the Pentagon weighs its next steps. Says Iran will allow 20 Pakistani ships to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar said. Pakistan has been acting as the mediator for negotiations between Iran and the U.S. Said the IRGC threatened to hit U.S. and Israeli university campuses in the region in retaliation for strikes on Iranian education institutions. So things are just escalating. Things are definitely escalating. Apparently, the Yemen's Iran-backed Houthi rebels have gotten involved, and the U.S. has sent more soldiers. So it's just more bodies being brought into this war. And ultimately, this is the Lord's vengeance upon these people, because all of these people, they're going to die fighting this war. Luke 21:22, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And that's right. And we are in a time of war. And when war happens, a lot of people get wounded, a lot of people get killed, there's a lot of destruction, there's a lot of chaos. And all of this is the Lord's vengeance being brought upon the earth and being brought upon these wicked people. And the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, have been prophesying that we were going to get to these times. And here we are. Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Jumping down to verse 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And we are clearly living in a time of war. And this war is just escalating. More people are being added to the war. More bodies, more soldiers. Exodus 15:3. The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. And that's right. And that's why this war is happening in the first place. Because ultimately, this is that will of the Heavenly Father being fulfilled. And more soldiers are going to get added into this conflict, this war, until it goes full blown. and turns into a full-fledged world war. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And that's right. We have to be patient, because World War III going full blown, it's coming, and we can see it. That's why more soldiers are being added to the battlefield. You see, this was never going to be, a quick war. Like, it just keeps going because neither side is backing down. The US and Israel are not backing down, and Iran is not backing down either. The Lord is putting the spirit on both sides to just keep fighting and to escalate their attacks. And there's a lot of civilians that are about to die, become casualties, get caught in the crossfire of this war. And that's judgment from the Lord upon all of these people, whether they're soldiers or whether they're civilians. Job 4 and 7, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? And the answer is nobody has perished being innocent. So all the people, the men, women, and children that are about to die, that have died already and are about to die as a result of this war, none of them are innocent in the eyes of the Lord. Because if they were innocent, the Lord would protect them. These are wicked people who are about to reap what they've sown by getting caught up in this war. Whether they're out there on the battlefield and they're going to die, or whether they're civilians that are going to become casualties of this war. Maybe a missile will hit someone's house and kill an entire family, or hit a hospital or a church or another school. In war, all cards are basically on the table. And that's what we're seeing. Verse 8, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. And we're in that time where these wicked people who have angered the Lord and provoked him unto wrath are now going to reap what they have sown, in the form of the judgments and the wrath and the anger and the fury of the Lord being brought upon them. And out there in Western Asia, which they falsely refer to as the Middle East, the Lord's vengeance is manifesting in the form of this war that's taking place. And like I said, things are just going to continue to escalate, and we've already seen it in the article that I just read. There's escalation happening. More soldiers are being added to that war. Apparently, the Houthis have gotten involved on Iran's side, and the U.S. has added more sailors and Marines to the fight. And in typical fashion, the Americans, not all of them. One second. Yeah, Slovakia. Not all of the Americans, but, the Trump supporting Americans, they think that, the Marines being sent in, that's a good thing. That means that, America's gonna win because, the big bad Marines. But once again, the U.S. soldiers are not used to combat on terrain that's similar to Iran's terrain. So they're going to put those boots on the ground and they're going to get slaughtered. these U.S. Marines and sailors, they put boots on the ground in Iran, Slovakia, and they're going to get slaughtered. The U.S. and Israel are not going to win this war. And it's first and foremost the Spirit of the Lord being placed upon them to keep fighting a war that they're going to lose. And it's also the pride and the arrogance of Esau that won't let him accept the fact that everything that he has done has been wrong. Starting this war, all the blood that's on Esau's hands, because all the people that have died as a result of this war, because majority of people have acknowledged that this was an illegal war. The U.S. and Israel were in the wrong in starting this war and bombing Iran during peace talks. So nobody in their right mind is on the U.S. or Israel's side. Not necessarily saying that people are on Iran's side, but in the sense of Iran is merely defending themselves against Israel and the U.S., then yes, people are on their side. And those Iranians are putting up one hell of a fight. And the U.S. and Israel did not see that coming. They thought it was going to be a cakewalk. And it's turned out to be anything except a cakewalk. And this is beautiful to those of us of the hopeful elect, because the escalation of this war is just prophecy coming to pass, and it's just yet another sign that we are one step closer to being up out of here, to the Lord returning. But of course, we know that other prophecies have to come to pass first. The civil wars and the race wars and the famines breaking loose here in America, and ultimately that mark of the beast being implemented to try to calm the chaos that's going to happen here. And once that mark of the beast gets implemented, that's when the Lord is going to allow World War III to basically go full blown and those nuclear missiles get launched. And America and Israel, the two most wicked places on the earth, are going to get erased right off the face of the earth. Well, America is going to get erased off the face of the earth. Israel is going to get cleansed of all those Edomites and other heathens that are in our land. But Israel, the land itself, is not going to be erased off the face of the earth, because that's the Lord's chosen land. That's his favorite place. But America, being the chief place of wickedness, that's going to get annihilated and obliterated and decimated right off the face of the earth. The very same words that Trump is using to describe what's happening out there in Iran. He's saying that the U.S. military is obliterating Iran, and it's like, no, that's not what's happening. But that's what America is about to experience. So for all you sincere brothers and sisters, stay circumspect and, continue to watch, because the Lord is making a lot of moves out here. He's really making things happen. And we love to see it. So no brother or sister of the hopeful elect should be depressed or sad, because we are in some very beautiful times. Our salvation is nearer than when we believe. We just got to be patient and continue to focus on this truth and serving the Lord to the best of our ability. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakudash, the water Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to our brothers who are fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the sincere believers. Hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan, Ratzazah. Until next time, Shalom.